Mr. DeJoseph here with your video study guide, review, whatever you want to call it, for our Instruments of the Orchestra test. In this video, I'm going to go through pretty great detail and go over with you all the different sections that are going to be on the test. And I think by the end of this video, you will be very, very prepared. If you want to, you can just listen intently. I might also recommend sitting with your binder or even just a piece of paper and taking down some notes that maybe you want to use to study later in case you don't have the time or the ability to watch this video again or something like that. So that might be a good idea to just jot some notes down here. You don't have to, obviously you don't have to copy everything down word for word, right? That's not how we take notes, but it might be helpful to jot some things down so that you can study on your own later. So let's get going. So the first thing that's going to be on the test is a matching column that might look similar to this, okay? And all you have to do is to take the instruments on the left and match them with the instruments on the right, okay? No need to draw confusing lines from one column to the next. If you notice on the left-hand side, there is a blank space after the instruments, and then you just have to write down the number of the corresponding instrument family. So number 1 is bassoon. So in the blank space there, you would just write down the number that's next to the family that the bassoon belongs to. So what family does the bassoon belong to? Well, if you said woodwinds, you would be correct, right? Number 2, cello. That's kind of an easy one, right? What family does the cello belong to? We all should know that it belongs to the string family. So that would be number 1, strings. Number 3, the euphonium. This one might throw you for a loop. We have discussed it in class, but it's a fairly uncommon instrument, especially in the orchestra. You find them mostly in concert bands and perhaps even in marching bands and things like that. So the euphonium is an instrument that is in the brass family. That would be number 4, brass. And lastly, the marimba, which you may know, is a close relative to the xylophone, first cousin, perhaps we can say, to the xylophone. And we should know that the xylophone is in the percussion family, and therefore so is the marimba. So number 4 would be, the answer to number 4 would be 2, percussion. Okay, so there you go. Let's see, moving on to our next slide. The next section of the test will be a fill in the blank section. Okay, so you just need to put the right word or words to complete the sentence and to make these statements true. Okay, so number 1, it goes, a chordophone is any instrument that makes a sound by blank. Now, how could we finish this sentence to make it true? A chordophone is any instrument that makes it sound by, well, what is a chordophone, right? We talked about this in class, breaking up the word, right? The suffix phon or phone means sound, and the prefix chord, what's a chord? A chord is like a string, right? If you have a chord, you have it's like a string. So this is string sound. So the answer here, a chordophone is any instrument that makes a sound by the vibration of strings. Okay, the vibration of strings, right? Very important that we use the word vibration there. As we know, all instruments, all sound is made through some sort of vibration, right? And it is not 100% accurate to say through the plucking of strings, through the bowing or the strumming of strings, right? It may be true, but it's not the whole truth, right? There's a better answer there because the better answer is through the vibration of strings, right? Because there are many different ways that we could make these strings vibrate to make the sound, okay? So it's mostly true, it's the most true to say through the vibration of strings, okay? Question number 2. Any instrument that makes a sound by blowing air and vibrating the lips on the mouthpiece is called blank. Now, your initial reaction to a question like this might be to say aerophone. However, aerophone is not the correct answer here because not all aerophones make their sound by vibrating the lips on the mouthpiece. You might be tempted to say aerophone because chordophone was used in the first question, right? So you're in that instrument category mindset. But if we think deeply about it, we know that not all aerophones make their sound through vibrating the lips on the mouthpiece. There's only one type of aerophone that does that. And what is that one type of aerophone? It is the brass family. If you said brass, that is correct because we know woodwinds don't make their sound by doing that. Woodwind instruments make their sound by the air vibrating against the mouthpiece or reed, right? Only brass instruments make their sound by the player's lips vibrating against the mouthpiece. The air doesn't vibrate here, it's the player's lips that do. Right? That's how you make a sound on a brass instrument. So the answer to number 2 is brass. Question number 3. A clarinet is a woodwind instrument because it makes its sound by, well, I actually just answered this in my explanation of question number 2. It's a woodwind instrument because it makes its sound by how do woodwind instruments make their sound? By the air vibrating against the mouthpiece or reed. And in the case of a clarinet, we know a clarinet is a single reed instrument, so the air is vibrating against the reed here, okay? Or we should say that the air is causing the reed to vibrate against the mouthpiece, and that's what makes the sound, okay? Number 4, the two types of percussion instruments are blank and blank. Now, here's one where you could actually have a couple of different answers. Now, first I'll tell you what the answer is not, okay? What I'm looking for here is not 2 random percussion instruments. So an example of an incorrect answer for number 4 here would be the 2 types of percussion instruments are snare drums and triangles. That's not correct, right? Those are just 2 different percussion instruments. To make this question correct, there are really 2 different correct answers. You could say the 2 types of percussion instruments are membranophones and idiophones. That's a correct answer. Or you could say the 2 types of percussion instruments are pitched and non-pitched percussion. Okay, either of those answers would be acceptable to a question like that. Okay, and then number 5, quite simply, a blank is an example of a brass instrument. You would just put any brass instrument there. So any brass instrument that you can think of would be a correct response for number 5. Okay, moving on. We have some more fill in the blanks. Okay, the 2 instrument families that are considered aerophones are blank and blank. Now there is only one correct response to this. Okay, think of the 4 instrument families. What are they? Strings, percussion, brass, and woodwinds. Sorry, this is a mirror, so. Uh, in which two of those families are aerophones? Well, the only two that are brass instruments and woodwind instruments. What is an aerophone? An aerophone is an instrument that makes its sound through the use of air. So the only two instrument families that use air to make their sounds are brass and woodwinds. Okay. The next several questions, you just have to tell me which family the instrument is in. So a bassoon, we talked about on the first or second slide, we said a bassoon is in the woodwind family. Okay. What about the trombone? That would be the brass family. The triangle is in the percussion family. A harp is in the string family, right? Harp has strings. And a trumpet belongs to which family? That would be the brass. Okay, very good. Next, you're going to have some multiple choice questions to answer. Okay, so I didn't put the multiple choice answers here. I just put the questions, but these are similar questions to what you'll see on the test. Okay, and then you'll have probably 4 or 5 different choices for each of these questions. So let's go over them quickly here. Okay, number 1, a xylophone is a percussion instrument that is an example of this category of instruments. Okay, so in class we talked about the difference between instrument families and instrument categories. Okay, categories are things like chordophone, membranophone, aerophone, idiophone, right? So a xylophone, we know it's a percussion, it's in the percussion family, but which category is it in? Does it make it sound through the use of strings? No. Does it make it sound through the use of air? No. Is it a membranophone, which makes it sound through the use of striking a covered opening, a covering or a skin on the instrument? No, it doesn't do that either. So that leaves only idiophone. And indeed, an idiophone is any instrument that produces sound by striking part of the instrument that is not a membrane, that is not a covering or skin. And that's what the xylophone is. Xylophones, you've seen them, they have those bars, right? And you strike those bars with a mallet. That's not a covered opening, it's just a key or a bar, right? So that is the correct response. The answer there would be idiophone. Number 2, a string instrument like the violin is an example of a, right? And the answer here would be chordophone, right? Because that's the category that goes with string instruments. Number 3, which of the following instruments can be found in the symphony orchestra? Here, I will give you one example of an instrument that can be found in the symphony orchestra, and the rest are instruments that are not found in the symphony orchestra. You just have to tell me the one that is found in the symphony orchestra of all the possible choices. Number 4, which is an example of a membranophone? Here I'll do the same thing. One choice will be a membranophone and the others will not be membranophones. You have to choose the membranophone out of that list, okay? So what would be an example of a membranophone? This would be things like bass drum, snare drum, timpani, bongos, different, the covered tambourine as opposed to the uncovered tambourine, right? These would be examples of membranophones, okay? And number 5, which instrument is not found in the symphony orchestra? Here I'll take, what I did here is I just took question 3 and I flipped it, right? So in a question like this, I would give you a bunch of instruments that are found in the symphony orchestra, and then one that is not found in the symphony orchestra. You would tell me which one is not found there, okay? Very good. Okay, so now, as I'm recording this video, it is the year 2020. and we are out of school because of the coronavirus outbreak. Okay, so if you're watching this in the future, ooh, the future. If you're watching this in the future and you're confused about why I'm saying this, well, there's why. Because it is 2020, uh, and we are out of school for the coronavirus outbreak. Uh, so if you're watching this in 2020, you don't have to worry about this. But if you're watching this in the future, what would come next here would be the listening portion of the test, okay? Where I would have you listen to different musical examples and you would tell me which instrument is playing. But if you are watching this in the year 2020, in the present, then you don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to do that for you. Okay? Your question will be, your test will be 5 questions shorter. All right? So it's a shorter test, but that means that each question is now worth more. All right? So I don't know. You can think of it that way, I guess. All righty. If there are any questions at all, please don't hesitate to email me, shoot me a message on Google Classroom, do whatever you need to do to get in contact with me. I'm happy to answer any questions for you. But I think that we are going to do just fine on this test. We've gone over this information a lot. You've shown me that you know this information quite well. It's just time to now apply it to a test, okay? And if you are watching this in 2020, I would ask you to not use your notes, to not have this video open in another tab. Go, using the honor code, take the test with no help, and let's see how well you really know the information, because I've seen through your work that you actually know it quite well, and you don't need to do that anyway. Alrighty? But if there's any questions whatsoever, please reach out to me. I'm happy to get back to you and talk to you about whatever it is that you need. All right. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, that will be it. Have a great day. Have a great evening. And I'm here for whatever help you need. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.